Welcome to Phoenix Business Exchange, Bell's Corners edition on this fine Monday morning. It is April 29th, end of the month that's coming up, folks. So a couple quick reminders, just gather your stats and send them to Tony when you crest over into May. I'm going to share a screen, and on the screen you will see the Phoenix website. And if you want to come to the Phoenix website, it just goes to www.pbex.ca. And what makes this handy? Well, let's scroll down here. So we have, well, hang on, I just lost my share screen. And so you'll see the member of the week. It's Matt Letard. He's out of Arizona, HVAC Arizona. So he does the heating and cooling and keeps your place motoring just fine. And if you're looking to join us this morning, click on one of these red buttons here. Monday morning, is click on this one. It's Bell's Corners. Wednesday morning, there you go. Thursday morning, all 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. So May 7th, we're having an after hours, and that's trying to get us, keep us on track to our tasks. These are all Zoom links. And then we have the East Trade Winds on every Tuesday. So that's tomorrow morning, 8 to 9. Tune in with Tony and the meditation on a Friday, 1:30 to 2:30. Apparently, he's got you dancing and moving the body, which is good to keep the cardiovascular and the blood flowing. Bell's Corners in-person meeting, May 27th, 7:30 a.m. So that will be a Monday morning. And then East End, in-person meeting, June 5th, 7:30. So the in-person one here, by the way, for Bell's Corners is going to be at High Five. Tony, where's the East End meeting going to be held?
Probably go back to the same place at Biggs. Everybody who knows where that is on Searville and Saint Laurent.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. I totally forgot which one that was going to be. The QR directory for all Phoenix members. You want to find us, you want to find a particular person, there's a particular thing, like, mortgages. You click onto this and get into that space and just scan the QR code, and you'll have all the contact details. The top books to read. You notice the e-cards, that's 3,037 year to date. That's scanning the QR codes, and that's how you find people. That's how you connect. And just going to kind of scroll back up, we have over $67,000 worth of referrals just between members year to date. And then, since businesses started 2016 with the Phoenix, over $4.6 million worth of transactions has been underway. And I'm going to stop the share so I can get my screen back. There we go. You guys are all back. We're going to have not an infomercial. Oh my gosh. Must be Monday morning. Not enough caffeine in the bloodstream yet. Mike's going to have the coaching corner piece coming up. And Mike, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bernie. Yes, it's Monday morning. I hope everybody had a nice weekend. And yeah, sometimes, that's what's great about the Bell's Corners meeting. It's Monday morning. It gets us to sharpen our tools so we don't say infomercial instead of education and so on. But this morning, it's just a small education on being kind towards those individuals that and that you might feel are dropping the ball in their life in some area. So if someone is falling behind in life, you don't have to remind them. Believe me, they already know. If somebody is unhealthy, they know. If somebody is failing at work, they know. If somebody is struggling in their relationships or with their money or their self-image, they know. It's what consumes their thoughts each day. What you need to do for those who are struggling, and not to reprimand them, but to encourage them. Tell them what's good about their lives. Show them the potential that you see. Love them where they are at. When we can't see clearly ourselves, we need others to speak greatness over us. People don't need you to tell them what is wrong in their lives. They already know. They need to be reassured, and they need you to bring them up in their life, a hand up, so to speak, to make it all right. That's today's education. And always remember, when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. Back to you, Bernie.
Mike, thank you so much for that educational minute. And now into our infomercials. I got that's kind of squared away. Here we go. So first things first, I'm going to remind you just, hey, what do you do? What have you been up to? What BAMs, what referrals? And a BAM is a business activity meeting for those that are listening in. And anything that's up and coming. We'll start off with Miss Lana. And then we'll go to Mr. Dwight. Lana, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mike. That was a great educational minute or a couple of minutes. It makes a lot of sense. I'm Lana Burnley. I've been, what do you call it, a very experienced realtor in the Ottawa area for the past 23 years. And it's mostly been residential. Working with commercial doesn't quite work with me. However, let's talk about your parents or your brother or sister who are not doing so well. I have lately been working with a lot of estate sales and power of attorneys. So please ensure that your parents or your brother or sister, your friend, or whoever you might be representing has something in place like a power of attorney for real estate or their will stating where their property is going to land once they are unable to look after it themselves. So if they end up coming down with something like dementia, or they end up passing away unexpectedly, because it's a whole ball of worms, a Pandora's box when we start looking after their property once they've gone, and disposing of it is even more difficult. So please make sure your friends and family, in a nice way, you're just helping them out. They might have forgotten to, even if they're going into retirement home. Yeah. I'm Lana Burnley, and one of my greatest joys comes from being trusted with your referrals.
Lana, thank you so much. I'm just going to post the LinkedIn live feed link so you can put your contact details in that space also. Dwight and then Josh. Go ahead, Dwight. You're on mute.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dwight, and my wife and I, Nicole, my wife and I, we basically formulated or created a company a little while back, Taste Sweet Life, which is a plant-based Caribbean catering. We specialize in just creating the dishes from the Caribbean, and we've been doing this on an ongoing basis quite successfully, and especially over the past year. This past weekend, we were again banned in Lansdowne. So we spent the week preparing for it. Extremely busy day. We had quite a few activities taking place that day. So we were pretty much zombed for the week and recovering from all of that. We'll be doing this every other Saturday going forward. And coming next month, we'll be adding another mixture to the vending scene. Will be over in Carp on Sundays. So basically, the Sundays we're going to be off from vending at the Lansdowne Pavilion. We also had, in terms of BAMs, this past week I met with more than a BAM. It was more of a basically a meeting to continue to solidify or rebranding with EMA. So we met with her this past Tuesday, and we'll be completing the process hopefully over the next couple of days. And that's all.
Dwight, thank you so much. Josh and then Jacqueline. Josh, over to you, sir.
Morning, folks. I'm Josh Lamb from Sterling Grace Tech. We're your one-stop shop for your IT support and development and web needs for Eastern Ontario businesses. And basically, we work remotely, so anywhere in the world, really, but we primarily serve Eastern Ontario. So half of what we do is building websites and then building customer management subsites. So a place where you can manage your customer relationships, where you can manage billing, where you can manage integrations, shipping, all that kind of stuff, and basically have your whole customer workflow run in a smooth way where everybody gets a uniform and great experience every time they interact with your company. So no more falling through the cracks, no more customers call you and you forget you call them back, or they text you and you never know that they text you because you don't check your texts enough. No more forgetting to bill and losing money that way, or getting an angry customer a month or two later when you realize, oh shoot, I had an hour of billable time and I should have done something about it. So we make you find technology solutions that will add to your bottom line, not subtract from it. And the other half of what we do is managed support services, anywhere from, oops, my computer won't turn on and I need a little bit of help, or I have an Excel spreadsheet and I need it to calculate this total, but it just seems to be calculating nonsense. We are the company you can call, and we can help make that stuff make sense as well, right up to my server won't turn on because my server room is flooded with water. Surprise, it won't turn on, right? And you need somebody who had the foresight to build you a disaster recovery plan for when that disaster happens. Downtown Ottawa, I'm looking at you. So if you need a tech solution that will make you money, give us a call. I'm Josh Lamb. Sterling Grace Technologies is my company, and we'll help you out. Thanks.
Also, a good reason never to put your server room in the basement. Just
Or to at least put it up on a high shelf.
very high shelf. Absolutely. Jacqueline, and then Shane. Jacqueline, over to you, ma'am.
Oh, groovy. Good morning, everyone, on this beautiful Monday, as we took a breath and we lifted our shoulders and we took them back and we dropped them down. And we thought, what an amazing weekend we all had. And we're very much looking forward to stepping into what's happening in the next, how many months? A number of months. We've hit the first quarter. We're done. Let's move on and think about all of the successes we had from January 1st until now. It's about the successes we've had. For me, I'm at the Woo Spiritual Summit, and that's on May 4th. That's this Saturday. I've been to it a couple of times, and it is, actually, that's not fair. I've been to it twice. This is a second annual. And there's a number of vendors who are there who are thinking, how can I help you in the way that Jacqueline will help you? As a yoga facilitator and a mortgage consultant, I talk about things that people don't want to talk about, but I'm going to ask you to take that breath. I will always ask you to lift your shoulders and understand there are solutions out there, whether it's spiritual or financial solutions. So when you're looking for strategies for your mortgage money, you always want to contact your mortgage honey.
Jacqueline, thank you so much. And Shane, and then Sam. Shane, over to you, sir.
Everybody, have a lovely Monday, hopefully. I'm Dr. Shane Bales for ProAction Health and Performance. Basically, we do some online advertising and stuff like that, and we hear people that, they look at the discount code and they're like, okay, great. And they think, well, how much is it afterwards? And I let them know that we're with them for half an hour or whatever. And we see them, and it's usually about $90 for a follow-up, or $115 if you're getting laser or any special treatments. And they're like, oh, I can't afford that too. And the one person goes, I can't afford it, and I've been paying for a long time and I need help, kind of thing. And I was like, look how we can help you and stuff like that. I understand that, people look at insurances and stuff like that too, but the snowball effect is quite large, right? When you start saying, I have pain, I can't exercise, I want to eat the things I can do. And there's also things online that people can go, like getting that advice from somebody who kind of has a direction of what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, is often an important thing. I'll see people with, low back pain and disc pain, and they're trying to do squats, or they're trying to do a lot of stretching, or they're bending their back and actually provoking the injury that they have. They just don't know any better. They're trying to do things for themselves. And that's what we are, a little bit of a guidance. Yeah, maybe you can't come in every week, or how much it is that, but we can give you those types of advice. You can ask us about exercise. You can ask us about, even nutrition and what the progression would be. So it is valuable that. And I always ask if they have any questions for me. I have no problem answering those questions, obviously free of charge as well, and doing that. So find somebody that, you have to do that, because if you don't have good exercise and you start putting more weight in your joints, and you can't walk, and you can't play with the kids or your grandkids, or do the activities that become that mental stress relief when you need it, it's really important, because we all know that we need to have that less stress in our lives so that we can function at a high level, and we don't have some of those stressors that make us kind of, grumpy, or even, give us so we're not functioning at our full capacity. So I think it's really important. And exercise we know is good for brain health just to begin with. And if you can't do that, you're kind of putting yourself on the second tier. Anyways, I'm Dr. Shane Bales, Proaction Health and Performance. If you're having problems with pain and you're struggling, come see us. We get results and we want to help you out. Take care. Bye for now.
Any referrals or BAMs, Shane?
Referrals or BAMs, right now, the referrals and BAMs, just kind of what kind of comes through our clinic right now. We're kind of busy, and as you know, I'm just looking at different golf terms and charity terms and stuff like that too, because it's that time of the year. So hopefully, everyone is getting through there, and I'm talking back and forth with Eric and things like that too. So, anyways, hopefully everything's going well. Bye.
Thank you. And over to Sam.
Thank you, Bernie. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning to you. Sam Sturris, connectedcars.ca. Well, you know, most of you know what I do. Anyway, dash cameras is my main thing, just like this one here I'm holding up. Great little device to keep track of what your comings and goings in your vehicle, just in case you have an accident and someone points the finger at you. You can point to the data on your recorded on your dash camera and show exactly what happened. Very nice device, and you only pay for it once. Besides that, I do, let's see, minor repairs, oil changes and brake jobs, and it's getting to the end of the tire changing season and the beginning of something I don't advertise very often, and that is the car cleaning or detailing business that I do. I got 3 later this week, actually, and so if you're interested or you know someone that might be interested in getting their car detailed, I can give you a quote. Sam Sturris, connectedcars.ca. Today's mobile electronics without the cost of a new vehicle, and lots more.
Sam, thank you so much. And Tony, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bernie. Want to talk a little bit about breaking through a glass wall. When we do this and we're overwhelmed so many times, usually it's our limitations that hold us back. I got several clients that this week that they just tried so hard to get through a certain goal, through a part of their life, they just can't get through it. We call it a glass wall. It's like a limitation that you can't really see and understand. And from a feng shui perspective, I have some tips for you. The first thing you want to do is there's probably a room in your house that you're using as storage. You know, the boxes and the things are piled up in certain places. I have a room like that. And you go through it, and some of the boxes are half full. They're doing things, and it's not really inhabitable. It's more of a storage area, but it should be like a second or a third bedroom. So one thing you want to do is, first of all, you want to take everything out of the room. Everything. It's like a Control-Alt-Delete, and you just want to. And what this does, it gives you that clearing in your life. When you clear a room, you're clearing something in your mental capacity there. You take everything out of the room. You vacuum up, clean the walls, clean the windows. The windows are considered the eyes of your home, by the way. When you get all that done, then you slowly will have to bring everything back in that's supposed to be in there. So if the desk has to go in there, that's where you do some of your work. If some of the lamps have to go in, if some of the boxes, well, this doesn't have to go back in. So it might not make it back in. The lamp that's really out of place, that could go into another room, and that's the second feature. Once you start putting things back in, there's going to be a number of things that's going to be outside of the room. And so the other 4 things you want to do to it, can it be relocated somewhere in your home? Can it go into a den, or can that other little chair go into another room, or what have you? The next one is, can it be professionally stored? Things like family pictures. If you have 1,200 family pictures, you're not going to display them all. So they're going to stay in a box somewhere, but a box might not be appropriate for the room that was in. So you would put it in a tote, label it, and professionally store it somewhere in a room that is supposed to be for storage. The next thing is, can it be given away for goodwill? Pants and shirts that you'd never wear because it just either it doesn't fit you. And that's another thing from a feng shui perspective. Don't hold on to things that is from the past, even if you can eventually fit into it. What statistics have shown is people don't, because they feel an exhilaration to buy new. And if something reminds you of 1971, it doesn't make much difference. You won't go back there. It's not you anymore. You've reinvented yourself many times by that point. So just keep it moving. Give it to Goodwill. Give it away. And the fourth thing is, if it doesn't pass any of those other tests, it's probably trash. So you throw it away. What this will do is it'll help that glass ceiling, and you'll be able to do things you can't do before. This is why when you have a car that's clean, it drives better. Back to you, Bernie.
Thank you, Tony. And yeah, I like a polished car. And speaking of polished cars, Sam, how were your BAMs this week? I've got to ask that question.
Thank you, Bernie. I wanted to mention two things that went on last week. We had the South Chapter meeting in person, and unfortunately, Lana wasn't there, but I was there. I drove all the way over to the River Lounge and met up with Tony and Bernie and Mike, and I actually witnessed Jacqueline throwing the furniture around. That was quite something. So that was a great meeting. Got to meet the guests there, and even Marlon, the owner of River Lounge. We got to talk some automobiles information about it. Besides that, well, I'm going to see Dave later this week. He managed to scratch up the rims on his new Tesla, so I'm going to do some work on that to shine them up and put them back into good working order. That's it for me. Thank you very much, Bernie.
Oh, Sam, not a problem. You're right. Those chairs were flying, but it wasn't just Jacqueline. You know, Terry Black was bouncing them around the room too. I'm Bernie Fransford, Creative Insight, do connections between businesses, host of the East Trade Winds, Knack for Business podcast, interview people, talk about their business space and their journey to that business space, and relate the golden nuggets either learned on the way or in their current stock and trade. And I'm just going to share one more piece, and this is Earl Flamata. He's another person that it's free to attend. It's every second Tuesday. Just hook up on Meetup, and that sounds kind of an odd way to say it, but hook up on Meetup, and you can connect into his sessions around 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every second Tuesday for an hour and a half. BAM-wise, reached out to Matt for some information. And apparently learned an interesting thing. Oil furnaces, they're usually warranties that come with it. Well, they're getting harder and harder to find. So just a heads up if you have an oil furnace. East Trade Winds last week, Tony, Tanya, Lana, and Carl were in attendance. So thank you very much. And I'm going to stop there because now Herr Mike is next. And over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bernie. And thank you, everybody, for this opportunity this morning. So let's strap on our seatbelts. So you see, Jacqueline, it's not about lifting the shoulders for me. It's about strapping on the seatbelts because of We Care Focus. Yeah, just quickly on the BAMs, too. I had a great time. It was unfortunate that Lana wasn't there, but I had a great time at the Phoenix South End meeting Sam, so many other people. So really, actually, a great opportunity for a lot of little mini BAMs. You know, you get to talk, you talk to some people, what have you, and it was really great. And I also witnessed too Jacqueline throwing around the furniture, and a little disturbing, but you know, at the end of the day, she was just, I thought it was one of her forms of yoga. I did not know, but
Okay.
okay, so we got the point across. Well, thank you for allowing me to present today. I'm excited. I want to talk to you about my coaching. So basically, before I get into my little PDF, I have over 300 hours of formal coaching by a coach who's at a master level. And a master level coaches are very few in Canada. So I've been honored over the years. I started when I was with Make-A-Wish and the coaching programs. And they made me a better man. They made me a better human being. And I love serving humanity in many different ways. And so the coaching was really, really helpful. I like helping people through the coaching. So there's two styles of coaching. One is coaching, just a stereotype coaching. What that is somebody calls me and says, Mike, I want to talk to you about what's bubbling up in my life. I have I have an issue with my child. I have an issue with my spouse. I have an issue with my friends. I have an issue at work or what have you. We take a look at that. That usually takes about 50 minutes. I go through the confidentiality and the start of that before the coaching starts. And then coaching is not mentoring. So I only wear one hat. Coaching is asking intuitive questions to get the individual to realize themselves what the takeaway or the aha moment is. And from that, they can apply that to what's going on in their life and hopefully mitigate the stresses or the concerns that they have at that time. The second approach that I have, style, is a mentoring and coaching session. Basically, in a nutshell, when I was a young kid, all the way up to, I think 61, 62, actually, I'm very sensitive and I'm very emotional. I always worried that I was never good enough. I always worried that, what could I do to please people even more? These were a plethora of different types of emotions that worked on my persona, not for my well-being, and because some of these emotions would turn into stress, which would turn then from that into anxiety, which would lead into depression, and which affected my mental health. And I always went through it. But even with that, my persona the way it was, I was successful for 23 years owning a collision auto body shop. I was successful with a plethora of friends, inner circle friends. An inner circle friend is somebody I can call 3 o'clock in the morning and go, I need help, they're there. As if they called me at 3 o'clock in the morning and said they need help, I'm there. So I have I'm blessed with a lot of inner circle friends. And was very successful at the Make-A-Wish Foundation, running that organization for 17 years as the CEO. But through all those careers and all my life and all my friends, I'm not good enough, and my self-worth, and which turned into emotions. And it takes not only a toll on you psychologically, but also physically, because Tony will, Jacqueline, teachers will, I think, admit that, when your emotions are not, you're going through anxiety and stresses or whatever, that does not do much good for your body, your organs, and everything else. But yeah, so then just before I said I had to do something, you know what I mean? I had to do something to finally get rid of this. I mean, I was helping people in the coaching or what have you, but I needed to coach myself. And I wrote a program called Full Stride. And basically, when I finished that program, which just before COVID, I applied it to myself and I started practicing it. And in a very short time, I could reap the rewards. And basically, it changed my life, it changed my persona. My fear of suffering is virtually gone. My self-worth is right to the top, because Full Stride is big picture thinking. And it essentially shows you who you are as a being compared to what you have or what you own or what your job is or whatever. A lot of people identify themselves with what they have and what they do and what they've accumulated in life or what have you, but that's not the true them. And so I wrote this program, and tons, like, was years of compilation of research that I put into this program. And I really had to write it where nobody could dispute it. Meaning, like, it's built on a bedrock of science. It's studied, researched, or what have you. There's no argumenting with anything. So my style then is, it's a six-part process, the Full Stride. There's an orientation, which is an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the potential client and what they want to talk about after I'm done mentoring that. And then 5 other steps. And I'll go through them with you in a second here. How it works. So back to when I wrote this for myself, I excel very fast in ending the fear of suffering. Now, I'll tell you though, life is life. Curveballs happen. During that time through COVID, I sailed through COVID. Didn't affect me. I had curveballs that would come up in my life, a phone call, email, altercation with a friend or relative or what have you. And right away, these emotions would come right back to me in square one, because that's who we are. We deal with them because if it's bad news or whatever, we got to deal with them. So instead of letting those manifest into unnecessary adversities and what turns into stress and depression and affecting my mental health or what have you, you take those in, you lift your shoulders back, you take a deep breath, and you take those emotions in because it's natural. And then as soon as I go through those thoughts process of the natural emotions or whatever, I toss them quicker than a cat can lick their ass, which means very fast. It's gone like that. And I've had some big curveballs since COVID till now or what have you, and none of those affect me in any which way. Where before, because with our imagination, the fear of suffering, a lot of people are suffering because of something that happened to them 10 years ago. They're still suffering. Some people suffer that what they're going to think about what's going to happen a day and a half from now. And so there's that fear of suffering or what have you. So instead of letting this back up into my history, my personal history, these curveballs or whatever, they're gone. And I don't let them affect me because I understand who I am, not what I have, not what I've accumulated, but who I am. And the miracle of that is like, it's incredible like that. So it's like I got Teflon on, I can deflect everything. And so, yeah, so let's take a look. I'm going to share the screen and I'm just going to show you quickly what the full stride is. Everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So that's that's the company that I called my MW stands for Mike Velosky and motivational because I like motivating people. That's a picture of me. If you guys quickly want to stop and take a break and go in the chat by wow, what a good looking guy and what a picture or anything like that, that's fine. You can go ahead and do that. Basically here, this is my why I wrote this, which I kind of explained to you. Because really what I did was to know, because one of my biggest statements that really started all this, sparked all this, and embarking on this journey was the Socrates saying to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. So basically what I'm trying to say is when you really know yourself, not what you have, not what you accumulated, not who your friends are, not what car you drive, not what job you have, when you truly know yourself, that's when the wisdom comes in. Because everything else is bottom line, it doesn't matter. Yes, it's important, my job. Yes, it's important that I have this or I want to go on these trips. Yes, yes, yes. But in the big scheme of things, it's nothing. It means nothing. Okay. So that's my why is in here. And then I start to talk about essentially the full stride program is a total transformation concept. And again, a little bit more about just getting into what full stride is. So a good background on that so people understand. The way the program rolls out, everybody signs up or just email, yes, I'm into this or whatever, that's great. Then I send what's called a full stride personal intake form before we get going on the orientation. The intake form is something that you really have to really think about it. Deep thoughts. They take their time. There's no rush on this or whatever, because when I get that intake form back, I customize my orientation around that specific intake form. So it captures the essence of what that individual is looking for. Then after that, it's 1 hour. Once I get that, we set up the orientation. It's basically a 1 to 2 hour, depending on what the client wants to discuss, because it's a very important part. It's the foundation of full stride. That's a $250 cost for that. It's a flat rate. A critical session, we go through. So it's the transformation and the change starts there with the orientation. So what I do then is I go through then 5 different modules that I have written, and again, to reiterate, researched so that it's no disputing. It's scientific or whatever. Because if I want to mentor, I want to make sure I mentor the right thing. So the first session, and these ones are once the orientation is done, the client then through their schedule, because everybody's busy or what have you, that's fine. We start with module 1. They pick a time. There's 5 modules, so it can be 1 a week, 1 every 2 weeks, whatever. I don't think 1 a month. It's a little bit too long, and so one of the first modules is the constant, the I constant in all life experiences, and basically, like I said, Socrates once says, "To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom." I mentor that, so I mentor that hour. I do about 20 minutes to 25 minutes of mentoring. Then what differentiates me is then I coach. Then I put my coaching hat on. And that client, we discuss this, what through them after the mentoring, what they felt. When the client then has a question, well, I'm concerned about this, or I want this, or I want to talk about this, then I coach them through that through intuitive questioning. My goal there is to get a takeaway or an aha moment or what have you, and then that is recorded. Then the next week or the week after, depending on the schedule, the second session is not, if not now, when, meaning if you don't do it now, when would you? So it's a look at fear of suffering, what holds them back, because a lot of people have great ideas, but you usually don't do them because of the fear of suffering, that they're not good enough, or they don't want to do it, or this is not a good idea, or what have you. And I go through all that. And again, then I go put my coaching hat on. Once I mentor that section, we go through that, and they have a takeaway. The third one is something unknown is doing, we don't know what. So this is the discussion and mentoring on totality, the bigger picture, belief systems, religions, what have you, and the discussion of pro and cons of meditation, because we all know meditation is good, but there's cons in it too if you do it wrong. And so we discuss that in module 3. Again, mentor. Then I do the coaching. I get the takeaway, the aha moments. It's recorded. Number 4, I hardly know where to begin. So this is an exercise in self-actualization. So basically it's when you start to now understand who you are, not what you accumulated, not what you have or whatever, it's basically your personal user's manual. And it's living on the active side of an infinity instead of the inactive side of infinity, because it's a choice. And I always like saying, it's not about you becoming a superhuman rather than a human that realizes life is super. Which means it's all the miracles, the things, and you really get to go, wow, you really get to understand through the mentoring part. And then through the coaching process, you have those takeaways, which is you, not me, this is all about you. And the last one, of course, is the fear of suffering and discussion of the only ways we human beings suffer, which is physically and psychologically. Memory and imagination play a big part in that. We really go through this. I have a good mentoring program on that in the hour. It's about half an hour long. Then we do half an hour coaching to get the takeaway. So essentially what happens, through the orientation and through the 5 modules, you have a takeaway. And this is your multi-pass. This is your multi-pass, which I framed up and labeled, this is your pass through life. Like when you get a ticket to go see a show or what have you, this is your multi-pass to go through life. Meaning when you get that curveball in life, which you will, like I do, or what have you, you could just quickly refer on your phone to your multi-pass, and you take a look at your 6 takeaways or aha moments. You might have 2 or 3 in each session or whatever, but they're all listed there under the headings of these modules. And you will sit there right there in that moment and go, wow, this is who I am. That person talked to me, that client, that relative, that whatever, like that, bottom line, it doesn't matter. Yes, it's important what you have to deal with it. We get that. But in the big scheme of things, existentially, it's nothing. It's nothing. You will zone right back to square one. So what that is, it's an anchor. And anybody that's taken coaching before, when you have that feeling and you have that knowing, all of a sudden you go to your anchor and you can mitigate those emotions. So it doesn't turn into stress, depression, anxiety, which affects your mental health. When people are done this program, they'll be able to coach themselves. You will not, I pretty well guarantee it, you will not need a psychiatrist, psychologist. Your mental health will be mitigated next to nothing. You will be able to coach yourself and you won't need a coach. I, however, would be, if for a client, would be what's called a wingman. Once in a while, it's a little check-in thing. There's no charges for that. Hey, Mike, just thinking about blah, 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 and it's bothering me a little bit. I'm trying to toss it, but I'm just having a little bit of a problem with what have you. We refer back to your multi-pass and we go right through that and you're going to be good to go. You know, and so it's a very quick phone call. It's not a big session or what have you. So this worked for me, as I mentioned before. Really helped me change my persona for other things. Life is great. I know how to deal with stuff. And because a lot of people still don't, 50, 60, 70 years old, still don't know how to manage their thoughts and emotions for their well-being. I can manage them now. And so, but before I go to market and make this, like bring this out to market or what have you, I'm making an offer here. This is about this full stride program is just under $900 for all the sessions and all the things. I'm offering it as a trial, for a trial basis, to 5 individuals that want to volunteer and sign up to go through. Why? The rationale is because I just want to get their honest feedback and tweak it a little bit and seeing how I can change that up for the betterment of the program and the individual. And so I'm offering, and then once I get that feedback from the 5 clients that go through the 6 sessions, trial clients, and it's for free. So there's no charges. They just need to be committed. They need to be totally honest with their feedback. Nothing's going to hurt my feelings. I've changed because of adversity, and I look at the opportunities in honest feedback or what have you. I have 2 already that are signed up. These will be commencing in the last couple of weeks of May, maybe the last week of May to start. And if you know somebody that's out there that might be willing to take this on for feedback, then and to better themselves, that would be great. Let them know. And this is simple. Just you have my contact information. Hey, Mike, interested in full stride. I'll take it from there. The first step is I'm interested. The rest of the steps we'll take together. So I have nice testimonials and basically just saying, I'm so grateful for the sharing the value of experience. It was amazing. These are from my coaching, not the full stride. I appreciate the coaching. Lots of good testimonials that I do have in case somebody's like, who's this Mike Velosky guy? And who's he to tell me how to run my life? Again, a lot of people are having a good life and running them well or whatever. I'm just looking for the individuals that are stuck and they're walking half stride through their life instead of the potential full stride. So looking for 3 more people to sign up, and that's it. Any questions? Well,
So,
thank
Mike,
you.
Mike, what age demographic do you service?
Well, the youngest that I have been coaching are the individuals that are transitioning from university into the real life, because transition can be very full of emotions, whatever, which is natural. But I help them through that transition. So, those are 18, 19, 20-year-olds, all the way to elderly, because one of the fascinating subjects that I talk about is death. and the fear of death. And I'll just very quickly tell you, if you think of your mortality and death in Western cultures 5 times a day, you will love life, because what it does, we're all fellow travelers to the grave. It's going to happen. We need to know that. And when we need to know that, then we can begin with the end in mind. And where are you now? What do you want to accomplish before that time? Because time is running out. And so if you think of your mortality 5 times a day, just quickly, you don't have to dwell on it. It makes you realize, wow, what a miracle I am. How great is life? I'm going to suck up every minute I can before my time's up. So it makes you realize death, thinking about death. And I wrote a lot about it. Thinking about it will bring you back to the point of by going, wow, that's a reality. Here's where I am now. What a miracle. Life is great. What else do I want to do today? Who do I want to thank? Who do I want to hug? Who do I want to help? Who do I want to serve? So on.
Nice.
So elderly too, to answer your question, Bernie.
So live across from a graveyard, you're saying. That way we remind ourselves that mortality exists. Any other questions? Sorry, I wasn't trying to be flippant there. Just this is what flashed into the head.
I got a quick question, Mike. Do you
it.
do it in person, or do you do on Zoom, or what do you prefer?
It's all Zoom.
It's all Zoom. Okay.
Coaching, just the coaching, not the full stride, is all on Zoom. If it's just a coaching thing, then yeah, you meet for a coffee, we can talk about it. Yeah, those are great too, because those are 1 hour sessions. And by the way, the cost for the coaching sessions is $75. So a very fair price for an hour of coaching. And that's just if something's bubbling up in your life, and I don't want to talk to my spouse. I don't want to talk to I don't want to talk to my best friend about it. I want to talk to somebody that has the confidentiality and the experience or what have you, or kind of like a third party.
Mike, thank you so much.
You also said that the orientation was an hour, but so is that because I think I read somewhere in your plan there that there was a 3 hour something. Is that the orientation, or is it the hour that you go through everything?
No, I do the intake, and then we set the orientation, and I customize the orientation to fit that client's persona at that time. The framework of the orientation is 1 hour. It's just a mentoring session, and with a couple of questions asked at the end. If the individual wants to continue on by asking some questions about the orientation and more understanding and the coaching part of it, then that can go up to 2 hours, like another hour. So 2 hours, the max.
Okay.
But if no questions or whatever after orientation, then it's an hour.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody. And keep in mind, if you know somebody that wants to go through, I'm looking for 3 more trial candidates. I have 2 already, as I mentioned, and then the 5 of us and myself will strap on our seatbelts and make life great.
Yeah, I'm thinking of somebody, Mike. Do you have anything that I could pass along to them?
Yes, I'll send you something, Lana.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, that's a referral. Click.
That's right.
Yep. That's it. Glenn is on the map.
Yay.
I think I had a bunch of BAMs too. I keep forgetting about them. Just keep meeting people every day.
Well, Anna, you can talk about your experience at the River Lounge for the Thursday. Oh, no, you weren't there.
Well, it's for the group, yeah. Well, that's the only problem with when we've got realtors and insurance people. There's a conflict. So
there's
Or
always
schedules.
Yeah.
Or schedules.
Well,
Mike,
you know
thank
what?
you.
You know what? Quickly about that, about competition. Thanks for sparking that, Lana. when I used to own a collision shop, I would go to workshops, and there was my competitors there. And it would be amazing how many times by the water cooler or at the bar after the workshops, how we would share war stories and actually help each other. I have sent body shop owners plans that we had for our marketing or what have you, because you know what, there's enough work out there.
No, there's lots.
These people were in need, share. So, I like if I was at a networking and there's 4 or 5 other coaches, great, have at it,
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And we all have different clientele too. We all have different
Yes.
markets.
Yeah.
and styles, Lana. So it's,
Yeah.
so people can choose.
Yeah, they only choose Lana when they want to be dazzled. And Jacqueline, they want to be dazzled by the mortgages that they're going to get.
Yeah.
So they go to her.
Yeah, we're very heartfelt.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That's where the heart is, right there on the sleeve.
Yeah,
What's
it's
great
a-
about Lana, is she always makes her commitments for meetings, always, and she's very busy, except for if it's at the River Lounge. Somehow she just doesn't seem to get there.
On that note, we're just going to swing over to the quote for the day. Listen to the people who are most quiet. Shahil Lavinia. Anyhow, I'm just going to cap it there and wrap us up
People that are
there.
most quiet. Oh, can I use that? I'm going to put that on the site.
So I guess nobody listened to me because I was quite mouthy today. Well, anyway, thank you